Alright, so let's see. My name is Nia'keanu X. I don't know where I should start. Let's do Black Atheist. Surprise, surprise! Another Black Atheist on your screen. It's like, nah, I don't really know too many. I think Black people are afraid to denounce God. Let's just start there. I don't have a flow to this whole thing yet, so we just gonna jump into it. I think Black people are afraid to denounce God, but know damn well he ain't doing shit for you. I grew up Christian, non-denominational. As far as I can remember, since I was a kid, I had grown up in the church, for the most part. And my grandparents, they were really like recognized within the community that we were in when I was younger. They were very strict with their word. My grandfather, I just realized he got his doctorates in theology. So he was the head of our household, of our households, really. And we're talking my mom and her brothers. And what he believed was a real foundation. It was a staple in how we all were raised. There was even a point where like I even lived with my grandparents, and I think that was the most strict moment in my life because they didn't do secular music at all. They didn't do a lot of TV shows. And when I talk about a lot of TV shows, I'm like Seventh Heaven. I wasn't even allowed to watch that because they were too liberal with their Christianity. They allowed too much. But now looking back from the little things that I did catch, I realized they probably were trying to like open up a discussion. I don't know. Don't quote me on that because I'm gonna have to watch that on my own if I feel. Yeah, they didn't do any of that. They didn't do meditation. They didn't do yoga, magic, Halloween, Harry Potter, anything. I didn't watch any of the Halloween specials, any of the Halloween movies, any of the nothing growing up. So I was restricted a lot. Fast forward, I met my husband. We had this moment, this like miracle moment, where we felt like we were really close to God. Like he was talking to us, like we had a connection, you know what I mean? Like we felt that because we were doing a lot of praying, we were doing a lot of trying to grow within the word. We had also decided that we were going to go beyond the church and research, original text, original language to try to get closer to this identity we call God. That's really where our journey begins. And it's crazy because whenever I talk to a Christian now, I can see the disbelief in their face when I say this part because you don't want to believe that what you've chosen to believe is untrue. A lot of people don't. I don't mind, being, wrong because to me, there's always something to learn. I find enjoyment in that, but that's not the point. I I can see it in other people though. They need their truth, and that's okay. But I am completely transparent when I'm telling you how I became a non-Christian, a non-believer of the God of the Bible is by trying to find him. Straight like that. On my journey, I started to see the parallels in other religions. I started to see where man had his hand in the making of this identity, the parallel in the zodiac, the hypocrisy in the religion itself, or at least in the way that people choose to follow the religion. I mean, let's say a combination of the two, because I feel like both exist and can stand alone. I got to that point where I realized that I've always been the kind of person who kind of went against the grain slightly. Now, not to a huge extent, but just, enough to feel freedom. I never liked the idea of following someone, especially blindly, just like believing every word that they say, taking every word that they say. Because the thing about it is I've been fooled a lot in my life. Okay? There was a point in my life where I used to literally take everybody's word for what they said, because I thought people came to the game as honest as I did. I thought that everybody was transparent, and if they saw that I was transparent, they would reciprocate, and that was never the motherfucking case. So I started to not be okay with just following people. So I'm so over that shit. Like, I'm so over giving a fuck about how people receive me, to be honest, because they're gonna receive me in the way that they perceive the world, period, or more so themselves. And I can't do shit about that, but grow me. And that's what I'm doing. But I'm growing me for me. So yeah, at the end of my research, I was very overwhelmed. I remember feeling betrayed, feeling very lied to, suckered. I felt overwhelmed with the information that I had gotten, because my whole life I've only known one thing, and that one thing I was told to never question, never waver, never let it go, keep it close to your heart. I never would allow myself to question God to that extent, to deny him. But at this point, I felt conflicted with the new information that I had received. I couldn't deny it, I couldn't ignore it. So I basically, asked, I said, look, if you real, if you there, if there's something that can confirm, because you see, as the Bible said, you see my heart, you know my heart, you know my desire, you know I 100% desire to know you. As you know, that nigga ain't show up. So I did. I showed up. I motherfucking showed up, bitch, okay? I motherfucking showed up. I started living for me. I started praising me. I started loving me. I started hating me, honestly, because there was a duality in all of it. I was free, but freedom, eesh, sometimes there's an entrapment in freedom. People might not agree, but I don't give a fuck. What I mean by that is you can get so caught up in being free and stuff that you get obsessed with the idea of going against everything. You could form a phobia. If anything gets too close, you feel trapped. You feel claustrophobic, whatever. There can be downsides to it. And I'm not, get your freedom, okay? Get it at any cost. However, just beware of your balance. Beware of the fact that control is necessary. Restraint is necessary. Boundaries are necessary. Stability, consistency, all those things are necessary. And for a while, and I'm really only speaking on self, so you can't say anything. I'm just like, but for a while, I had negated all those things. I completely was just like, no, fuck it, fuck it. It was necessary though. It's part of the growth, You go from one end to the other, and now you find your happy medium. I found myself. I found yoga. I found meditation. I found crystals. I found chakras. I found kundalini. I found the natural community, the dread community. I did it all. Like, I went through the motions. I came to the point where I don't believe anything. Ooh, this shit's heavy for me, because I spent close to like 4 years extremely depressed. Extremely depressed. Just even still to this day, I have to force myself to come up with things that I believe. Because I learned a lot about belief. I learned that religion itself is just a belief system, something that's readily packaged for you, ready for you to accept with all of the proper containment. I don't know if that's the right word, but to survive life. It works for some people. Don't get me wrong. For people who are in need of help and guidance and don't believe in themselves solely enough to survive this shit by themselves. Now, when I say that, it's crazy. People, Christians, they react so quickly. They're like, what? No, that's not true. But it's like, my guy, you literally sing it in all your songs. You say it, you read it, you breathe it, you quote it, you rewrite it, you do all of that all the time. You always were talking about how you are worthless, how you ain't worthy, how you ain't shit without this nigga, how, you'd be nothing, you'd be nowhere, you're a wrench. Y'all always say that shit. And if you're not saying it directly, it's literally in between the lines. I'm not trying to shade anybody. I'm not trying to make my intentions are not to make anyone feel bad about the choice that they're making. I want you to understand the choice you're making. Because if you understand the choice you're making, then you can also in turn understand why someone else isn't making that same choice. When you believe that your religion or your belief is 100% capital THE truth and nothing else. This goes for religion, this goes for beliefs, this goes for diets. Because I heard someone saying I've heard someone complaining about that, about people comparing diets and thinking one is better than the other. When you get into that bag and you start comparing shit and saying, no, my shit's the best and your shit's whack, that's when you start getting shit twisted. And that's where now I have to let you know exactly why you're doing what you're doing. Because I know. Whatever. That's the narc in me. However, it's the truth also. You are making this decision because it fits you. It works for you. You don't want to or don't desire to take the time to struggle through this life alone. And that's okay. That's okay. Because that shit's scary. That shit can lead you in the hospital if you're not well equipped. The thing about it is, you're never well equipped for life. You gain your tools as you live it. You gain your knowledge, your wisdom, your experience through living it. That's the only way. That shit's scary. I get it. But don't come for me. No. My point of saying all of this is, you have the right to make your choice. And I have the right to make mine. I don't believe in the God of the Bible. I also don't substitute the God of the Bible with another God, because I don't believe in worshiping a God. I believe gods are man-made, all of them. I do believe that we were created. That's a difference. I was listening to something yesterday, and it was just saying that you can get caught up in believing that the creator, parentheses S, are gods and are wanting or seeking or requiring worship. That's a human thing. We get excited, we rejoice, we praise, we worship. It makes sense to want to understand what we are in, where we are, who we are, and attribute it to something bigger and better than us, because then it can also allow for us to either pawn our worries and cares onto this being, also place blame on these things as well. Either way, whatever you choose to believe is bigger than you can pawn and blame and praise. whomever and whatever you want. But that's just it. That's why I'm where I am. It's because you can do that with anything. So why not do it with yourself? And if that made you cringe, or if that made you like go, then you're exactly who I'm talking about. And you probably should spend some time with self, because you probably need some of that praise and worship you so ready to give to anything outside of you. I've watched these people go as far as to even like they wouldn't call it praise, but you know what it looks like when someone's praising somebody. And they will praise these leaders, these pastors, these figures that are, you know, closer to God, more godlike, examples of God type shit. But they won't do that shit for themselves, man. It's kind of sad. I really want people to just quit forcing their choices, their beliefs on other people. We really need to broaden this gap and make it a safe place to be an atheist, to be black and be an atheist, or just simply not believe in the God of the Bible. You don't even have to call yourself an atheist. You can call yourself whatever, or you cannot call yourself at all, right? But you have the right, and I feel like we don't have that platform like we usually do. Like whenever I hear a black person who's not an atheist, I'm like, oh, really? Talk to me. What you know? Like, I just gotta know. I just want to know what's in their head, because I know that means they are thinking. They are thinking. They are thinking. They are out here thinking. And I'm not saying that if you believe in religion that you're not thinking. However, what I am saying, that when you're not thinking, when you're not resting in the answers that are already given to you. Let me say it again and look at the camera. When you're not resting in the answers that are already given to you, it leads you to think deeper. Period. Poop. No. I think I'm gonna wrap it up there, because I kind of rambled a little bit, and this is my first video. I probably will touch on this subject again, just because I don't think I made every point that I desire to. However, this is my, like I said, this is my first video. I'm putting it out there. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You know, about what people think. No, but yes, I do. 100% so. We all do. But yeah, I wanna complete this, and I wanna put my voice out there. I'm gonna make another video too, and talk about some more stuff, because I'm on a roll. Let's go.